Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to be talking about nutrition in plants. I have made one video on this topic before, so if you haven't watched that already, you should do that and then resume watching this video. Now, we have discussed that green leaves are called the food factories in plants because they can synthesize food with the help of raw materials like carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight, and sunlight can only be trapped by these green leaves because of the presence of a green pigment called chlorophyll. Okay, so green plants are able to synthesize food with the help of carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll in the form of glucose or maybe starch and release oxygen gas. So basically, all chlorophyll containing plants are autotrophic in nature because they can synthesize their own food. But we have all seen some different kind of leaves which is not specifically green in color. Does this mean that these leaves do not perform photosynthesis? Well, no. Such leaves also contain chlorophyll and hence they also perform photosynthesis, but chlorophyll is actually masked underneath the beautiful colors that we see in these leaves. But what about the leaves which actually do not contain any chlorophyll? No matter what amount of carbon dioxide, water and sunlight you provide them, because they do not have chlorophyll, they will not be able to trap any kind of sunlight, and hence no chlorophyll means no photosynthesis, and such leaves and hence such plants have to depend upon other plants for their nutrition requirements and hence use the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. We all have seen this yellow wiry kind of branch structure in the trees around us. This structure is called cuscuta or amar bale. As you can see, this is yellow in color, so it obviously does not have any chlorophyll. And because of that, it cannot make its own food. And this yellow structure or amar bale actually depends on the tree it climbs on for its nutrient requirements. It takes the ready-made food from these trees, and because it is depriving these trees of its nutrition, it is called a parasite, and the one which it is climbing on, the tree which it climbs on, is called a host. So this is an example of a heterotrophic mode of nutrition by a plant which is cuscuta, where it depends on the other plant for its food requirements. What we see on the screen right now are the examples of plant-eating animals. That is, all of these different animals eat plants. But have we ever come across any animal-eating plant? Well, this is quite different, right? But there exist certain plants who actually eat animals, okay? For example, we have Venus flytrap, which eats insects. Or we have pitcher plant, which has a kind of lid-like structure, as you can see, and this lid closes as soon as there is some insect which is trapped inside the pitcher, and these plants are called insectivorous plants. But the important question here is that even after being green in color, which means possessing chlorophyll, these plants are still eating insects. The answer is that even though these plants have chlorophyll and they can synthesize their own food with the help of carbon dioxide and water, but still, plants also need certain kind of nutrients and minerals which is not present in the soil in which they grow in, and that is why these plants eat insects to fulfill their nutrient requirement. Moving on, we all have eaten breads. Mostly on the same day we get it from the bakery because breads do not have a long shelf life, and if we keep it for long, it looks something like this. This growth that you see on the bread piece is called a fungal growth, and fungus is another organism which does not have any chlorophyll and it depends on other organisms for its survival. In this case, it depends upon the bread piece and absorb all the nutrients from the bread piece, making the piece look something like this. Also, we have mushrooms, and we know that mushrooms grow in soil and in rotten wood. Okay. So in case of mushrooms and fungus, there is another mode of nutrition which is called the saprotrophic mode of nutrition, in which the organisms depend upon dead and decaying matter for their nutrition requirements. So how does the saprotrophic mode differ from the heterotrophic mode? Both are depending on other species. In case of heterotrophic, they depend upon living species, whereas in case of saprotrophic, they depend upon non-living species for the nutrition requirements. Your fungal growth can be seen not only on breads but on your clothes, on walls. But the question is, where do they come from? Well, fungal spores are present in the air already, and as soon as they find living conditions like wet and warm conditions, they germinate and they start to grow. So, as soon as they find their living conditions, which is hot, wet, and humid conditions, they begin to grow. That's why in summers, all our food goes bad very easily, and we try to keep them in the refrigerator as much as we can. Also, during the rainy season, we crave a lot of fried food, isn't it? I think all of us do. The reason for that is one, it's very delicious, and secondly, during the rainy season, we have all the conditions of being wet, humid, and hot being fulfilled, and that is why it's a perfect time for the growth of all the fungus around us. And by frying the food, we tend to kill all the fungal growth if at all it exists. So the next time it rains, we can ask all our mothers to cook these amazing snacks for us because, well, we have a reason now. Now let's talk about what is a symbiotic relationship. In a symbiotic relationship, organisms tend to live together, sharing shelter and nutrients with each other. Unlike in case of parasites, where they just take away all the nutrients from the host and in return they give out nothing. In symbiotic relationship, they have a unique strategy which is united we stand. For example, in case of lichens, we have alga and fungus. They both are in a symbiotic relationship with each other, where alga is the food making partner because it has chlorophyll, whereas fungus, because it does not have any chlorophyll, provides water and various minerals, and that is how they live together. In this video, we came across a different mode of nutrition, which is the saprotrophic mode of nutrition, the parasites and the hosts, the insectivorous plants, and a symbiotic relationship. This was nutrition in plants in the course of 2 videos, and I hope we have understood each and every aspect of this chapter. Now you can go to EduRev and do the shown worksheet and can also attempt the test to understand this chapter in even more depth. Thank you so much for watching.